Hello everyone and welcome to the NinjaTrader Ecosystem Webinar Room. My name is Juanita Archuleta and I work here in the NinjaTrader Denver office. We have a very special event for you today with Felix of WirmachenTrader. I would like to mention it's important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity futures contracts and Forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstance and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and could even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the following link for a full copy of the CFCT risk disclosure or if you have any additional questions regarding this disclosure. This presentation is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is a technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Any NinjaTrader brokerage questions should be sent directly to our brokerage team. With new tools added nearly every day, NinjaTrader ecosystem is home to hundreds of apps and services. You can quickly and easily find tools or services with a simple keyword search. You'll also find information regarding upcoming webinars and an on-demand recording archive of previous events. Also, if you are active on social media, we do ask that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to get all updates for the NinjaTrader ecosystem regularly. NinjaTrader is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. To ensure you are on the latest version of NinjaTrader and pick up a free live data trial, please use the following link. We also do offer very flexible leasing plans as well as a great lifetime license purchasing option which you can review using the following link. And if you are just getting started with NinjaTrader, we offer free live training on a daily basis and you can review our schedule of weekly and daily webinars using the following link. We have a very exciting event for you today in which Felix will teach the Anchored VWAP, the first real AVWAP drawing tool for NinjaTrader 8. Thank you again for your attendance, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader Ecosystem Webinar Room, Felix.
Thanks, Juanita, for inviting me, and it's a great pleasure to be on. First of all, please give me a Y if you can hear me loud and clear in the room. Nice, thanks. So guys, yeah, I saw the poll, and it's great that 50% around are looking for trading apps, and the other half is looking for education, because I will provide both for you this evening. It's evening here in Germany. I guess it's afternoon in the US, so it's great to be connected. And first of all, the risk disclosure, you've read it, you've heard it from Juanita, and it's hypothetical performance disclosure and so on. You should be familiar with this. And first of all, I would like to introduce myself. It's my pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me on NinjaTrader. And my name is Felix Hoevelborn from WirmachenTrader. That's our company here in Germany. I have a master's degree in science, and I'm located in Cologne in Germany. I don't know if you know this, but it's basically a nice city here in Germany. And I'm trading since 2012, which is now 7 years, and I started my bachelor's degree in 2012, and I started trading also. And I was trading mainly Forex back then, and I switched to equities in 2018. I guess it was January, because my master's degree was finished and I could make the cut back to full-time trading, because I did both, like swing trading while I was studying in university, studied a lot of trading while doing my studies as well, but most of the parts, both areas were really good, so it made sense to do this. And I've built WirmachenTrader here in Germany, and also had the pleasure to really study emotional intelligence. So my PhD, or my doctor father here in Germany for my master's degree, allowed me to actually study trading, and I did that while focusing on emotional intelligence, because many people outlined before that emotional intelligence is what really successful people, really successful traders are their strength in. So it made sense for me to see, okay, emotional intelligence gets great traders. Now let's try to understand how to impact the emotional intelligence. So I've built like an e-learning course for that, and it was proved by that study. It was an international study with over 50 traders I've recruited for this study, and I basically could show for the first time, e-learning wise, that it's really possible to learn e-learning and have a heightened emotional intelligence, and this has a high correlation to trading also. So it makes sense, and I'm also listed here as an author in Germany for the largest magazine in trading, and I'm, like I said, the founder of an education and software company. So we do not only provide German education in trading, but we also write our own software, which this whole presentation is about. Because I'm an active trader. I trade full-time, I trade daily, intraday, and for myself I develop tools that support my trading, that make my trading easier, and this is what this is about. So let's jump ahead and let's have a look on the agenda for this evening. I have about like 30 minutes for the whole presentation, and then we will do a Q&A at the end, and we will discuss the traditional VWAP. So what's a traditional VWAP you guys can already use on NinjaTrader and for sure on other platforms as well. But we would also introduce you to the Anchored VWAP, which is pretty amazing. And like Juanita said, we are the first company that really have this tool available for NinjaTrader. And if you're on Twitter and so on, it's a great tool, and it just makes sense. It's not like, oh, we just built a tool to have a tool. No, it just makes sense, and we will talk about the psychology of traders and the psychology of the underlying framework, of the underlying fundamentals of the Anchored VWAP as well. So I will give you the theoretical background and then also give you some guidelines, and later I will show you in depth some examples from today, from earnings and so on. So I will show you in depth use cases on how to really apply this understanding, apply this tool to the markets. We will look to equities markets, so mainly stocks, but this is also applicable to other instruments as well. And in the end, like you know, there's a special offer for those guys that are interested in this tool to apply it on a daily basis. So what's the traditional VWAP? The traditional VWAP is mainly a volume-weighted average price. So you might know, it works in Forex also, but we will talk about that later. So the volume-weighted average price is like a simple moving average, but instead of just comparing prices, it takes the volume into consideration. And how it does that, we will look at a later spot, and I will show you on how to calculate the VWAP as well. But it's mainly an intraday indicator. So on most platforms, you just can apply it to an intraday basis, and that's what it was about. So institutions develop this tool as a benchmark, as a standard. I guess it was back in 1998 for institutions to really see how their traders did well or did poorly and so on. So it was mainly for an intraday perspective. It's also used for algo trading, and it basically shows where the average trader is positioned, and for sure in relation for the time period you're looking at. So because there are only intraday indicators or intraday VWAPs available currently, you just look for the average trader on that given day. So like support and resistance in general, it's a potential point of support and resistance. No support is 100%. No resistance is 100%. It's just a framework we look at, we spot on smaller time frames, on lower time frames, and it's a potential point of support and resistance. So let's try to understand why a traditional VWAP or a VWAP as a concept makes so much sense. Typically you have different variables in the market. And you can clearly see that you only have 3 variables in the market. It's price, it's volume, and it's time. So every indicator you see out there, it's derived from those 3 variables. So most of them maybe just take the price into consideration. Other will have the price and the volume. Other will have volume and time, and so on. But WVAP does it all. So it takes the price into consideration. And price is the most important variable for every trader. This is how we keep score. It's just, if you buy low and sell high, you will calculate the difference in the price change. And whether this is an absolute or a relative value, it's the only thing that really shows if we won or lost. The second, the volume, that gives insight into the intensity of different traders at different prices. So you directly see that this is a secondary indicator because it's in regard to the different prices where the trades actually took place. But it is an important one. I give you more insight in how to calculate and why emotions and the intensity is so important. The third variable is the time. And for the guys that are new to trading and so on, time is one of the few variables that we really can control. So we can choose our time frames. We can choose how long we want to stay in the markets. But it is also therefore a subjective variable, because maybe I'm an intraday trader, maybe there are some guys out there as an investor. So it just makes sense that this is a subjective variable. So let's go further. So I've talked about the volume weighted average price, and let's compare it to an ordinary moving average. So what is the difference? So I have outlined 2 examples, or it's just one example and it's 2 trades. So the first trade of the day, it takes place at the price $100. The second trade of the day, it takes place at $101. And you see, a simple moving average would just take both prices, you add them together, 100 plus 101, so that equals 201, and you divide that by both prices. So it's pretty easy to say, okay, a simple moving average would plot the price at 150. But if we really think about that, is this how it should be done? No, in order to weigh the emotional impact at those prices, we have to take the volume into consideration. So it makes a difference if someone buys big lots, so big size, big blocks of stock, or smaller sizes. It just makes sense, because think about the emotions if you have big size on or small size on. So you attach your bias around your size. So we should weigh those decisions more. We multiply the shares for the first transaction with the according price. So you see, the first trade of the day took place at 100. So we divide the number of shares he bought at $100. It's 100 times 100, and we add this to the second trade, which is 500 times 101. And now we divide that whole sum by the total amount of shares being traded. And by that easy calculation, you see, oh, the anchored or the volume weighted average price for that example, for just 2 trades of the day, it's not 150, it's 100.83. So that's the volume weighted average price. Why is it higher than the middle? Because the higher trade had more shares, so we should weigh this more. And you could imagine if we had like 100,000 trades in a day taking place, it's a large sum, and it's like a moving average shown on your chart, but basically it's doing all the calculation easily in the background. So Anchored VWAP in comparison to the traditional VWAP. I talked about that the Anchored VWAP is for multi-time frame events. It can be anchored at any reference point. It can be used on any time frame, and this is new, because you couldn't use a VWAP on a daily time frame. It simply was not possible. Now we can do that with the Anchored VWAP. And it answers the question, who has control since the event? That means if you plot an Anchored VWAP to a specific bar, you basically answer the question, but I will show you later. And it's used in SEC filings also to determine fair valuations. If you look in SEC filings from stocks and companies and small caps and so on, they do secondary offerings based on 10-day VWAPs and so on. So the institutions in the background, what you don't see, they use this concept already. So it's a tool. It's an individual approach to Anchored VWAP, so it's no system at all, but it's a great tool to use, and I will show you how. So right now I will give you a quick demo on how to use that tool in NinjaTrader 8. We will talk about how to apply it to the chart, how to drag and drop it, how to use it with hotkeys to really work on the workflow, and how to change the properties, and how to set up alerts as well. So let's jump over to the screen and let's look at that. So, okay, here you see my screen, and first of all, we want to apply the drawing tool. So, as you know from other charting tools, you go to the chart, you click on drawing tool, it opens a submenu, and you simply click to VWAP. So if you get this tool from us, you install it easily, and it will show right here. So you can click it, and now you already see that you have like a pencil showing. And now I can say, oh, let's apply this, and you see I am on the Apple daily chart. Let's apply this to the swing low right here. And I click, and it, boom, it just snapped there. It shows the price. It did all the calculation, and you know it's not just like two trades in the background, which we did on the last slide. It's millions of trades taking place, changing hands, and it's so fast. So this is pretty easy to do. It's just one click, and you can go here and you can apply it to any bar. But because I use this on a daily basis for my own trading, I really wanted to go one step further, and I say, okay, this is pretty unhandy to use, right? So I don't want to have a messy chart, and I don't want to use like 200 different Anchored VWAPs. So what I really wanted to do is that I can drag and drop the tool, and it's pretty that simple, you know. I left click on the anchor, you see that the mouse symbol changes to left and right arrow, and now you simply can drag and drop this tool. So it's pretty easy, because if I change to another chart and I come back 5 days later to Apple chart and maybe say, okay, maybe I need to ask another question, because it's all about the questions you're asking, but the specific use cases will follow later, so bear with me. Right now it's just on how to apply it to the chart, and later I will give you some more insights on the use cases. So that is how you attach it, that is how we drag and drop it, and now let's see how to really change up, or let's speed up the workflow. So you saw that I need to go to the drawing tools, I need to go to VWAP, and right now you see I have a symbol right next to VWAP, and it's the hotkey, and this is a really great feature from TradingView, and we took advantage of it. So if you go to Tools in your Control Center, you go to Tools, and then you go to Hotkeys. It opens up the submenu, and you will see within Chart, you scroll down, you see all the drawing tools, and you finally see the VWAP. And I set this to Alt 2, I say OK, and now if I click on the keyboard Alt and 2, I can work really fast and apply it to the chart. And this is how you can really use it with hotkeys to even make it faster. And you see that to clean it up, I also have a hotkey for remove all drawing tools. It's for me Alt Delete, and by doing that I'm working really fast on my charts. The next thing we want to look is the Anchored VWAP itself. So right here you see it, and we have different kinds of properties attached to it. So by double-clicking the anchor, it opens the objects menu, the properties. And you see, we have, for example, the feature auto scale. Right now you see, if I zoom out, it just focuses on the price. So the Anchored VWAP is not inside anymore. And I like to have it this way because I focus on the price, and this is just a tool. And if the price comes down to the line and I see it, yeah, it's still within the side then. But if you click this, if you click auto scale, if you apply this, you see the difference. It holds the price within the view, and this is how some clients wanted us to have it. I deleted it, I activated it, so this is my default. You can say plot price or don't plot price. You see in the background right now I have the price plotted here. We can click apply, and you see it's not showing anymore. I want to see the price, so I will have it right here. And then you can also for sure change the color to your liking. You can change, like you know from other various NinjaTrader indicators, that you can change the style to dash and so on. And for sure, yeah, you can save this as a template. For example, I can save this as my default, and with the new NinjaTrader update, you can save it already as a default or override the last default. So the next time you use it, it's there. I can then say, okay, for some special occasions, I double click it. This, I don't want to change everything. I just saved a template for this. I load the template. I go to this symbol, and you see I have another, so I can use this for special occasions if I need to. So this is more in-depth how to change the properties. So let's go to the alerts. You right or left click on the Anchored VWAP, on the anchor, you right click and set to alerts, and now the menu pops up from NinjaTrader, and you can also say, okay, if Apple crosses below the VWAP, okay, this is our condition. If Apple on the daily crosses below VWAP, then do the following. You can send a message, you can take action, and action is pretty amazing because you can play a sound, you can share a message, you can submit an order. So it's pretty cool, and this feature is brought to you by NinjaTrader, but we developed it so we can take advantage of the coding requirements for this, and you can also use it for your own trading. So PK asked, what is the difference with this indicator versus VWAP on NinjaTrader? Is it standard indicator? You see that I can apply it to any chart of my liking, and the typical NinjaTrader VWAP is just for intraday purposes. So this in the background, I have it on the 5-minute chart. You can just use it for the 5-minute chart, and you see this is an extended equities template for pre-market, after hours, but it calculates each and every day. And I will show you why this is important for your trading on a multi-day basis. So I said you everything about the demo on really apply to the chart, and I will show you the different use cases in a sec. So, but let's just try to understand, and let's go jump back to the slides, why this is important. So first of all, before I give you insights in how to really use it in your research, in your trading, let's understand why this is important. So it's important because of the anchoring effect. It's a psychological phenomenon, and Tversky and Kahneman, who later became a Nobel Prize winner, wrote about this. In many situations, people make estimates by starting from an initial value that is adjusted to yield the final answer. The initial value or starting point may be suggested by the formulation of the problem, or it may be the result of partial computation. In either case, adjustments are typically insufficient. That is, different starting points yield different estimates, which are biased toward the initial values. What this basically means, folks, is if you have an initial bias to take a trade, and the market changes and you are in the trade and the trade goes against you, it goes in your direction, it comes back, it goes back and forth, your initial value will never change. Your initial bias will never change because of your initial value, of your initial starting point. And that is why we can make use of an anchor where we attach the anchor to understand where the average VWAP is really, or the average investor is really positioned. So one step further. So here are guidelines for VWAP in general. So either for the intraday VWAP or for a multi-day VWAP like I will show you. It's the direction of VWAP that is more important than the close above or below the VWAP. Why is it? Because a rising VWAP shows that money is flowing in. You typically want to trade the trend unless you be a counter trend trader, so it makes sense to go long if the rising VWAP is visible. If you have a declining VWAP, that means that money is flowing out and you don't want to go counter trend, so yeah, it makes sense to maybe think about shorting positions. The fourth situation is that we have a sideways VWAP. It just says neutral action, and for me, I want to have trends and it makes no sense to trade those. So now we finished our framework or theoretical background. Let's jump in and let's have a closer look at some charts, because typically you have different kind of cases where you can apply that knowledge. You can use it as a second day VWAP. That is not possible with a normal intraday VWAP. You can use it for earnings plays. You can use it from trend swings. You can use it on small cap bounces, for example, and you can also use it on IPOs. And you see there are many more examples than this, but we just have like 10 more minutes to go over this, so I will make this real quick and let's jump right back into the chart. So first of all, and you might notice I prepared a little bit like the market analyzer and I took some notes as well. So if you want to have this layout, you can do it for your own market analyzer and then connect the box from the market analyzer with a chart. So let's jump to the daily chart, or let's go to the 5-minute chart, because one guy in the chat or girl wrote about the intraday. And now let's just, instead of just calculating one, and it shows like a connected line, but it's basically starting new. It's starting new from every open, this yellow normal VWAP. But now let's just apply it to a second day perspective. So we apply it for the open from yesterday on Apple, not today. So this is a second day VWAP. It has the all transaction from the first day and also for the second day. And you see, if you got into the open today, you see it acts as support 2 times. It held the offer, the pre-market high or the afternoon hours high from yesterday. It rejected there. It took a dive below. You had a nice resistance level between the 2-day VWAP and the intraday VWAP, and then it made a new low. It bounced right into the second day VWAP. It rejected, and then you see it acts as resistance. That is just one case how you can use it. And I look on the second day VWAP. If you have like multi-day runners on small caps, I apply it to the first day, so I really see who is in control, because what you want to answer is really, if you apply that to this anchor, you basically ask, or you get the answer, who is in control since this anchor? Who is in control? Here, the buyers are in control because we are above, but you see it's going sideways. So it's basically distributing shares. Maybe this is a potential short-term top. I don't know. It's about the statistics. So let's go to another use case. We go to the SPIs, and now we change to the daily time frame. And how you can use it, we looked at an intraday or a 2-day perspective, but on intraday charts. But now from an investor's point, or maybe a longer swing trader or position trader, you might want to look at long-term moving averages. And instead of just looking at moving averages, you take a real moving average with volume weighted into consideration. And how we do this is like year-to-date anchored VWAP. So you anchor the VWAP on the first day of the year, and you see that this is an amazing tool. You see, it held the support one time, and this, sure, this is not on the penny, you know, it's rising, so it's still valid. You have the support here, so it's not just like, oh, I'll buy the dip into this price. No, it's just a tool to identify good potential levels, and then you apply your own analysis, your own strategy on how to really get into the position. But you know, because maybe you think about buying it here, the pullback, and you think, oh, that is a swing and I want to buy it here. But now you get a sense of, maybe I wait more, and even if it pulls back, or you think about, yeah, I take a starter size, but if it really pulls back to the fairest price for the current year 2019, then I take on heavier size right into the anchored VWAP, and my final hard stop would be below this swing low. That's something you take into consideration, and you basically see it held the support really nicely. And if you would compare this to a simple 200-day moving average, it's pretty nicely. And then you can do it like swing lows and swing highs. So that's another use case how I do it. So I want to trade pullbacks in a major trend, and how I do it is just asking from the swing low, what's a fair pullback into which level? And yeah, that would be a fair pullback into a fair level. And I would not chase maybe up here on that time frame, so I would wait for a good pullback into a fair price from that given swing. We jump straight to Tesla, which currently, I guess it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago maybe, had earnings. And that is a really great play, because you typically get earning gaps, and that has to do with fundamental shifts, maybe good earnings numbers, and so on. How I do it is, after earnings, I want to see a gap, because that stands for fundamental change in the expectations of the investors, and hedge funds have to update their portfolio, and new fresh volume is streaming in. You see the huge volume. So I apply it just before the gap, and you see, I don't want to chase a gap. I want to see money flowing in first, and once it flew in, I then want to buy the pullback. And I don't want to simply buy it right here, but I know that if I see a nice spot on a smaller time frame, that I want to look at this level, because this is the fairest price. And as I said, institutions are already using this tool. It's not magic for sure. That's just a tool, but you can get better in the art of really using it. Another example is Lyft. Lyft had the IPO back in April, and now let's simply ask, is it worth buying Lyft or is it not? So we can apply it, and we could ask ourselves, what is the fairest price of the Lyft stock? Or the other question would be, where is the average investor? Where is the average trader positioned since this anchor? If we would ask ourselves, where is the average investor positioned since this swing high? Let's do it. And you see, all attempts to go back into VWAP got sold, you know, because this is a fair valuation to short if you ask the question from that swing. Another example is Cisco. So it's more like swings. You know, you have a major top, major low, and I would ask, if we pop here in this consolidation, is it already worth buying? Maybe it goes back to the top, or are the sellers still in control? So I attach it to the absolute top, and you see it's pulling back nicely. The slope is downward. So right here, you don't want to go long if you're looking at that slope, because it's declining, the money is still flowing out. And now you see, even today they got earnings, I would do the same. I know long term, okay, money is flowing out, and now we attach the second day VWAP, and now, yeah, for tomorrow maybe a second day play where I would apply today's VWAP, and then I would come up with nice resistance zones to really get into my trades. And for those guys that trade small caps, let's go to the small cap world. And I mainly trade small caps. I also do that on larger stocks. And friends, I will talk about this in a sec, about futures also. But let's finish here with the small caps. And you see, small caps is really a great example where you understand what is going on, because you have the huge volume spikes. And you see on that day here, you have a volume node of over 60 million. And basically, all those people got trapped. You know, it's pretty risky market. So be aware of the risk. Read the risk disclaimer. You should be absolutely aware of the risk. But if you are a short seller and you know how to control your risk, you can do what I do. So if this pops up at a later point, I ask myself, all the people that got trapped in this daily candle, it's 65 million volume. Where is the average backholder, so to say, positioned? And it's exactly that price. So sometimes from a trend perspective, you have this zone to short, because this is all resistance area. And yeah, to get into a good risk reward, you want to short right here and have your stop above here. So you can't short here and have your stop here. That's no good risk reward. And that is why this tool is so good, because you can apply it here. You see, oh, the average investor is positioned here, and it spikes into this price, and everybody sells their position, because all those guys that got trapped, they need to get out of their positions. So that's a brief overview, and I want to now dive into these questions. The first question I got is about futures. I'm sorry to say that I don't have a futures feed currently running in Ninja, but I do know that futures is pretty good. I have multiple clients in bigger trading rooms with multiple traders in there that just trade futures, and we also updated the Anchored VWAP and released an update with the alerts and so on for our futures traders. So it's great. And just mention, you have real volume in futures as well, so it works the same way. And another guy asked about Forex. Forex is not a centralized volume, but it works. It's not as precise, I would say. It's not as precise as equities and futures, but it works, because you see the average guy going into positions, going out to positions, so it really makes sense to also use it. So, are there any other questions I can answer for you? Can you apply the charts in a manner such as last pivot high and last pivot low, so when the chart is loaded it will be plotted automatically? What you can do is, if you draw it in, you know, you update your charts, and I would recommend doing it on a consistent basis. So if I have charts like this and I now change to Cisco, you see all drawings are still there. So that's how I like to use it, and that's how you should use it, because like we said, don't get caught up in the anchoring bias. You need, sorry guys, I need to change back. So you just need to go back and update it, and it's already there. So if you close your workspace and save your workspace, it saves the last drawings on your charts, and if you go back, it's still there. And like I said, don't make the mistake to automate everything. If you have anchoring bias and you say, the last time I did my analysis I was thinking short, and now you have this automatically applied, like swing highs, swing lows, and now you think, oh, maybe it's still short. So you, every once in a while, you should just do that and start with a fresh mind and do your analysis and think, okay, let's now apply the tools. And if I go back, and here, and the next time I start NinjaTrader, it's still there, and you still see, oh, there are great spots to short this, and now earnings, and boom, you did a new low. So it makes sense. You can apply it. It saves automatically. You can switch your charts. It will still stay there. So there's no need on the next session that you have to redo everything. So it really saved everything, and it's fine to use. So let's jump back to the slides for a sec, because as I mentioned, there's an offer for all of you. If you would like to use this tool, there's a special offer. It's an affordable price, I guess. Our Anchored VWAP tool is for only 199 euros. So it's about $220 US instead of 275 US. If you like to, you have to use the voucher Ninja50 to save the 50 euro, which is 20% at the checkout. The click is VWAP-tools.com, and you also get a lifetime license with all future updates. And guys, if you have any recommendations on how to make this tool even better, and we do this on a consistent basis, we update, and you get those updates, and you receive 2 activations, so you can run it simultaneously on 2 machines. So that's the deal. And how to apply the coupon: if you go to the page VWAP-tools.com, you see the checkout page. You click right here in the, let's go to this tool, you click right here, Ninja50, apply it, click here, apply it, and then buy now. So this is how it gets done. You save 20%, and I guess it's a pretty affordable price, and it's a tool everybody should have in my point of view. So it's a great tool. I use it, like I said, on a daily basis, and I'm not a strategy junkie, or I'm not like having tons of indicators. I only use price. I only use support resistance. I like to have my charts clean, but the Anchored VWAP, that guides me really through the day. So I look for you if you have different kinds of questions still for me, and then I want to update them. Someone asked what's different because there's a daily VWAP from another vendor, I guess. I guess the difference really is how you can use it, because other vendors, you need to double click it, and you need to really plot in the date of the day. So we have it like a drawing tool, and other vendors don't provide the drag and drop capability. Other vendors don't have the alerts. So we have multiple advantages over the other, and the price is, I guess, outstanding for this little tool. And yeah, that's the difference, and that's why our tool is unique to the NinjaTrader community. There are other platforms, but in my point of view, NinjaTrader is the best for active traders, the best for investors. It's so customizable, so you should make really use of that, and that is a great way to really take the most out of the platform if you like to. Do you still have other questions for me to answer? So to sum up, it's really working well in all markets, especially in those markets where you have real volume, like futures, like equities, and so on. You can use it in Forex as well. It's not as precise, but it makes sense to use it to guide you through the trends. Yeah, you can, so normally there's no trial version, but I can show you real quick. So if you go to the website, that's a website where you get redirected to. You go here, get the tool if you would like to. But if you think about or have any further questions, because the webinar is about to end, you can use this little tool right here to send me messages. So I will be live for the next hour or so until you guys don't have any further questions. So please send me a message, and we can arrange everything to your liking. Also, if you need more information, there's below the features tab you see our knowledge base, because we have more information and you see how to download it. You see there's a great documentary, the installation process, how to activate your license, how to use it, the change log, what did the new updates have in common, and all so on. So you see everything in detail, printed out, how to apply alerts. So yeah, it should be all good for you, and I hope all questions are, yeah, Jack, it can be used on futures markets. I have multiple clients that only use this for futures market, and they are very active, very successful traders. So I'm not saying it's based on the Anchored VWAP, but with their knowledge, they use it in such a manner, and it's for professionals if you like to. So yeah, you can use it for the futures markets. Okay, guys, so I guess we're almost done. I want to ask, or I want to thank NinjaTrader for having me on today. It was a great pleasure. I really want to say, okay, take the advantage. It's 50 euros off, so 20% for every one of you. So go to the site vwaptools.com. Use the voucher Ninja50 to save those 50 euros or 20% at the checkout, and then you get this tool in a second from us. It's automated. You get the activation code sent via email, and then you can use the documentary to install this in a second and use it tomorrow once the market opens. So that's from my side. I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you learned a lot about psychology, where the average trader is positioned, and I really want to thank you for the stay here, and I hope you guys have a great night, and see you next time. If you have any questions, you see my further contacts. You can hit me up on Twitter at Felix Hoevelborn. You can go to our site vwap-tools.com, or just shoot me an email at felix@WirmachenTrader.de.
Thank you, Felix. We just want to give a special thank you to Felix for a great presentation. Everyone here in attendance is going to receive an on-demand recording of today's event, so please keep an eye out for that email. NinjaTrader Ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope that you'll attend them on a regular basis. We'd like to remind you the information provided in this was that of WirmachenTrader and not of NinjaTraders. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from everyone here at NinjaTrader. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.